Hi, friends. Dr. Bob here once again, trying to share things that seem important to me and a lot of people seem to enjoy and or benefit from. So I'm back again. What I want to do is present really a scientific concept that I believe to be quite novel and very significant and important for the kinds of things that I'm constantly discussing in terms of energy flow, how it creates life, how it creates evolution, and how we can use it to create health by understanding metabolism and its relationship to free radicals and moving our system, our collection of molecules further from equilibrium to essentially maintain health. So, what I want to talk about today really is that there's a continuity that occurs between flowing energy organizing matter, creating life, and how we respond to things via free radical production, and how that in turn, when we turn on fat burning, leads to chromosomal rearrangements as a function of acetylation and deacetylations of different regions of the chromosome that in turn opens or closes, depending on the specific situation, the availability of that genetic material to be expressed. So, of course, my big deal here is carbohydrate metabolism funneling into the electron transport system, generating excess free radicals, but allowing for the differentiated state of the cell, as opposed to turning on fat burning, largely de-differentiating the cell into a more embryological state, and how the cannabinoid system is involved with cell migration under those circumstances, and how that might in fact likely to be simply a aberrancy when we see it involved in metastasis of cancer. So once again, we're looking at fundamental mechanisms of sugar burning and differentiation versus fat burning and de-differentiation, but also under those circumstances of inefficient energy production, reducing the risk of free radical damage and simultaneously expanding the stem cell population to help regenerate whatever needs to be regenerated. So I am going here to someplace. What I'm trying to say is that metabolism gets turned into epigenetic control, and that epigenetic control winds up actually providing for a targeted source of mutagenesis and change, such that the metabolism that becomes institutionalized in the epigenetics subsequently gets further institutionalized in genetics. So we're seeing this fundamental continuity in terms of a biochemical response to an environmental change becoming a epigenetic response in terms of chromosomal architecture, and that subsequently the genes that are turned on in particular are exposed to free radicals simply by the fact, for example, that they're being transcribed, that they're genetically active. A stalled replication fork that would occur, for example, with a appropriate type of damage, would then in turn lead to strand breaks, which are of course highly mutagenic and pro-recombinant. So what I'm suggesting here, once again, to be clear, is that everything is dynamic, everything is response and change and response and change, and that becomes institutionalized in a transition from biochemistry to epigenetics to genetics. And that's what we see happening in the genetic catastrophe of cancer. Again, the important thing to remember is also that cells are always oscillating in terms of, even within a cell, different areas that are going to turn on fat burning in order to protect the cell from generating too many free radicals. So, for example, as a cell is moving forward, it creates polymerization of actin in the direction that it's going, while it depolymerizes on its behind, basically. So you're having this treadmill of moving forward, of course, requiring calcium activation And of course, generating free radicals in excess, the more it's doing something. And in turn, the cell responding by turning on AMP kinase in a functional fashion within the cell so that the fat burning is occurring localized. I just found this out today. Very exciting for me. It's occurring localized as a function of need. So it's not even that the whole cell has to be fat burning, but that within a cell we can have regionalization. So once again, the idea of a dynamic fractal, where each reiteration of the fractal doesn't have a static algorithm, but has a novelty generating algorithm that allows it to respond to the changes in its environment that it created in its last adaptation. In other words, there's a constant dialogue between life and the environment. And as life changes, the environment changes, and hence life has to change again. And what I'm telling you is that I firmly believe that we see this occurring via dissipative structures on subcellular organizational levels that echo through the layers of organization, both within our lives and within the evolutionary history as we transform metabolism into genetics. Very interesting stuff. And I think providing novel opportunities for how we have to look at what health is and really the role of the endocannabinoid system as we use more and more of it. I use so much at this point that I kind of miss not really getting high. But on the other hand, being high all the time is a different perspective as to how we process information and how we're able to help utilize that information to modulate our lives to help promote not only the health of us as individuals, because we're part of a much bigger picture, but the health of us in terms of our family, our community, our country, our biosphere. Bye, guys.